Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Does this program go to Parma?
It's the time of the season when love runs high. In this time, give it to me easy and let me try.
Welcome back. Listening to Inside the Great Outdoors, and I wanted to do a Facebook Live to explain my new project with the Castaways. It'll be Castaways Magnetic Leader Holder, I guess. It's a long name. But people that are fishing with the diver.
Hang on.
So
don't start yet.
Oh, don't. I can't start
You got to wait for your cue, man.
Oh, I'm waiting for the
You've
cue.
done this before.
Oh.
There it is. It's right there. That's Castaway's Magnetic Bobber. Just kidding.
Oh,
Go
boy.
ahead, Joe.
Okay, so here's a magnetic diver. The object of it is you hook the line to the rod and the lure behind it, usually a spoon, nightcrawler harness, whatever.
Or crankbait.
Or crankbait, it's shallow diving. So when you put it in the water, it falls and gravity locks it and it's diving. And it's going along here like this. And then you get a bite. It tilts it. It changes the angle. This pops loose. It comes in. You're not fighting it. The fish gets off. Give it slack. It falls. Resets. Strong magnet. Okay. Mm-hmm. So to fish with it, this goes to the rod. And this goes all the way out to the spoon, which is usually about the length of the rod. So 7 foot, maybe 8 feet. So now you got this, and you bring it in, and what are you going to do? Just, throw it on the boat, and it's a mess. So the newest invention is the holder that you can wrap the line on it, and it gets put together like so. And get it in here. It's got the lines marked up, and it holds, and you wrap the line around it, and then you pop that off, the line comes up. So you take the diver. So I was thinking, well, it's probably in this position when you bring it in. So it's sitting. So what do? So simple. This is really cool. So you take it and you turn it upside down. And then all you have to do is let it, oops, sorry, did that too fast. Gotta do it again with my great wrist.
Don't hurt your wrist.
Yeah. So, come on, Joe. This, you would think that it would be a simple project to do with your wrist, but not so. So, let's do it this way. Hold it like so. Drop it in. Like that. Then all you do is turn it upside down, and that holds it in place. Now it's going nowhere. So then you take your other part and just, as I had it, with my busted up wrist, it's not the easiest thing to do today.
Now you see what we deal with, folks.
Yeah. So, okay. So now it's on there. Okay. And this is going to your rod. So then all you have to do is take it, probably better this way, and you wrap the line all the way around this. This bobber is getting in the way to kind of explain it. But, so then you could either leave the spoon on or lure or take it off, and it has all these different compartments, or not compartments, but places where you could hook the spoon, put the line in all different ways.
It would probably be safer to take the spoon off.
It depends. What I am thinking,
so
if you
lift extra hooks on it won't.
If you have one hook, I think it's easier to put it on.
Yeah.
If you have treble hooks, it's probably better to take it off.
But
what do you think,
Why
Carl?
this would work, leaving the spoon on, you could do that when you pulled the lines because you're going to another spot.
Right.
If it was at the end of the day, yes, take the lure off, just hook the little
swivel.
But then here's the neatest thing I just come up with. So you take that off, right? Okay, and it's marked off and on. So off is like this. So then all you do is turn it, and all the line comes right off. Now that's pretty cool. And then the once your line is off, then it's just a matter of taking the and now me with this, pulling that, falls right off. So it's I think a really good way of storing, which is always a problem, and because the flippers are all the same, whether it's on a standard, the Magnum, or the Super Mag, it'll fit all of them, so you only need one. And the other idea I had then, too, is to maybe put a little piece of either red or green tape, so the ones that you're fishing on the right side, because the object of the diver is you can... No, I can't. Maybe...
Use your other hand.
Oh, yeah, there
you go.
I could turn it so it could go to the right, so you could put the ones that fit the divers that are on the right side of the boat and have green for the ones that go on the left side of the boat. So there's a lot of things. And then the latest thing we also talk about is where it's going to probably include a little small carabiner, and then you could hook it on the reel or different places where for storage. So I got to come up with ideas for that. So I dropped this on the floor. But the idea, I think, is a really cool way, and thank you to Michael Bray to get me thinking here on how to do it, and then finding a manufacturer. So within 2 weeks from the time, with my hands here, it's hard to operate this, but we could hang this like so with the diver on it. So
it's hard to operate with your brain, too.
Well, that goes without saying. So we'll have it labeled and we'll do this. But within 2 weeks, we have it where we're going to have production starting tomorrow.
Yeah, it's cool.
So
if you take that carabiner and hook it on the crossbar of your reel, you could actually tighten your line so it stays tight,
solid.
Stays solid next to the
so
reel.
So it would go up like that.
Yeah.
And it would be hooked.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Then it won't when you're
got one
running,
assembly.
Yeah.
One assembly.
When you're running, it's not bouncing all over the place.
And the nice thing about it as well is because no matter what size diver you use, one size will fit all.
Yep.
And so they'll be priced economical, but such a neat thing. So it's it's Castaway's Magnetic Leader Holder, which is a long title.
Diver Leader Holder.
Diver Leader Holder.
Diver Leader Holder.
Diver Leader Holder. It's a
Swedish model.
Yeah, so it was a little bit hard for me to explain it here with my wrist. But you could look on Facebook for those that are listening to the show, and you'll see. So does that pretty well explain it to us?
Yeah.
You can actually set up, if even for the catfish guys that use planer boards, you can use the magnetic divers catfishing to spread out your offerings in a current situation, and you can hook them up on those. You can hook up your floating catfish rigs that have the float and the hook that you like the Carolina rig type of thing.
Yeah.
You could do that too.
See here, I'll show you this. I want to show you one more time because I think it is so cool. Because I was trying to figure how we're going to get that set in there. But if you hold it like so, if you hold it like so and then just drop it in, okay? But then when you go, boy, oh boy.
If you go like
What a friggin'
I'm so
crap.
glad I'm recording this for posterity.
and you drop it overboard.
So you drop it on. Don't drop it now. But then all you do is turn it upside down
And it
locks.
Yep.
So the magnet is what's holding this on there, and it ain't coming off. So in fact, it really takes a bit of a pull to get that off. But by holding it upside down and then just flipping it, it's on there. And then you put this back on.
Slide it in, and there you go. Bob's your
and
uncle.
It's marked, so you could see where it goes, how to put it on there. It takes a little getting used to, and it's on there. Then you wrap it, then you take it off, you pull this thing down, if I had a good wrist, pops off. Pretty cool. I'm really happy with that. So it's a couple little refinements, but that's the line holder. So we got pretty cool ideas.
And the nice thing about Joe's divers are they'll wobble back and forth.
You're right. In fact, here's a very good important thing, Doc. I'm glad you mentioned that. When this is in the water, it's not going like this. In fact, you have to get used to the rod tip.
Right.
Because the rod tip is
moving.
As this goes, it's the rod is not, you think, oh, there's a fish on there, No,
you'll know when there's a fish.
Well, but here's the thing. You're not sure? Okay, pop it.
Set it. Yeah.
And it'll come up, and no fish. So you don't have to bring it in.
Then you let slack out again, and what happens?
The other nice thing, which is really nice with this setup as well, you could, you remember how I had it set on here and I took this off. Mm-hmm. So if you could take this and hold this over the side of the boat, hold on to the diver, the line will right off with this thing, then take it off, hook your line to the rod, and you're in business. So the simple thing, it makes things so much easier fishing, which I think is very important nowadays. And the problem is, it is a problem because you got this with all this line, and where do you put it? And you wrap it around this, and it comes off and whatever. So this is a way to make it more convenient to fish and easier, and a very inexpensive little add-on tool that makes life a lot better.
Yeah.
So that's my story, sticking to it.
My story is use single hooks on these
yes,
on the spoons.
Yes.
You'll hook more fish, the hooks will stay in better, and they're easier to de-hook. You're not going to get hooks in your hands, and fish are less likely to wiggle out of a single hook than they are a triple hook. Don't you think?
They can't pry,
right.
Which they do.
Don't you think so, Joe? You've caught a lot more fish than I have.
They pry that hook,
treble hook out.
Right, exactly.
So all the spoons I've ever had, I've taken that treble hook off, and I've put a big single hook in. It doesn't affect the action of the lure.
Nope.
If anything, I think it helps the action. And I will sometimes, on some of the smaller spoons, I'll put a little plastic bait on the back of it. A little.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that helps too.
Yeah. You can even put a little chunk of night crawler on it.
You
but
could.
Chances are you're going to get a
white
bass, a white perch, or a sheep.
Something. Yeah.
So, but sometimes you'll get a walleye. But you have to always watch those. You're tipping any of your baits with a chunk of crawler. You have to watch those rods closely.
Yeah.
Because you'll get a fish that won't, no matter what you're using, it won't. You won't see the bite as readily if it's a junk fish. So.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? It may not trip. Even sometimes when they're fishing with boards, they're too small to pull the board back, and it doesn't.
You're dragging something you don't
dragging,
want, or so a small walleye.
Just got to check your baits every now and again, which isn't a bad thing.
All righty, and now we got to take a break. You're listening Inside the Great Outdoors. We will return shortly.
Lazy yellow moon coming up tonight, shining through the trees. Crickets are singing and lightning bugs are floating on the breeze. Baby, get ready.
If you troll for walleye, steelhead, or even salmon, you need to check out Castaway's Magnetic Divers. The release is magnetic, so if it trips accidentally, no need to retrieve it. Simply give the line slack, it sinks and resets itself automatically. When fishing is slow, trip the diver when trolling. It will come up through the water column and very often trigger a strike because you are now covering different depths. It can be set to go off to the right, left, or straight behind the boat. It comes in 3 sizes and different colors. Why not try one today? You can order them online at castaway.com. That's castaway.com with a K. You will not only improve your fishing success, but will make trolling fun again because of no more retrieving after a false release. That's Castaway's Magnetic Diver at www.castaway.com with a K.
Thanks for listening to the Inside the Great Outdoors podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share, shoot us an email at jcoulis@castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K. We'll share your comments with our audience on the following week's show. Thanks again for listening to Inside the Great Outdoors.
And welcome back. Time for the fishing report with Big Daddy Kyle Bexel.
Who?
Big boy.
Oh, that's me.
That's you.
Yep. Fishing report. Brought to you by Mogador Bait Tackle and Marine Repair.
That's Big
And
Daddy.
you can get your propane out there, too. So.
Yeah. Dinks no more.
Dinks no more. That's right. The fishing has been pretty darn good lately. The weather cooled off a little bit for a few days. But it was still nice out. And the walleye have been doing really, really well off of Cleveland. The walleye fishing off Cleveland is all kinds of hot right now. And I know guys have been doing really good between 72nd and Wildwood. And that place is called Bracknell. So off the Twin Towers of Bracknell in 41 feet of water. Guys are out there casting harnesses for them, casting the Erie Dearies, casting single blade harnesses like a mayfly rig, and they're trolling Hottentots and wiggleworts high in the water column. And
in this heat?
Yes, and they're catching walleye.
Wow, that's hard to believe.
So they are doing really, really well. And I know our buddy Tim Wilcox, who's I'm sure listening as we speak, if he's not reeling in a fish, they had a few good trips last week. And he was posting some nice pictures, and it was actually funny because I did some fishing this week out at Portage Lakes at the State Park Swim Beach. I've been going there because Nemesilla hasn't been very good to me.
Yeah.
I've been going out there, and I haven't done very well at all, and I don't know why that is, but catch a couple fish, but not like it was earlier in the year in May and April, and it may be they're in transition in this hot weather too. So
in that shallow water,
yeah.
So the small magnetic diver would work
Sure.
on a wide setting with a spoon.
Yeah.
If you didn't have the crankbait, so you could get it away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you could use a bigger one and not trip it. It'll run about 2 feet under the water.
Exactly. Yeah. Just let it be so it is tripped.
Yeah.
So that it'll
Not
like
set
you say.
it. That's what I meant.
Not set. So by itself, it's probably you're right, 2 or 3 feet. Okay, but you'd get it away from the boat.
Yeah.
And you could use the little crankbaits. Mm-hmm. Good idea. Good
So,
idea.
Yeah, you could use those smaller crankbaits for
Yeah.
them. I know a lot of my fishing pals that are with the Cast Cray, the Rick and who else? Vinny and Tim, and they've been fishing out at Milton and fishing the spillway out there and catching some fish, some crappies, the occasional small walleye, things like that. Mosquito, they're doing really good on panfish, bluegills on the edges of the weed beds. This time of year, they're coming off the beds, and the males are all grouping together in their groups. And if you can find a school of male bluegills, you can just have an absolute ball using either a little foam ant behind a float or even on a fly rod, or using little larval baits, maggots or waxworms.
Fly rod is a fun thing.
You have a lightweight fly rod. Those fish come up and hit.
Yeah.
They'll come all the way out of the water and hit those little foam ants and foam spiders or little poppers. It's so much fun. We do that at Mogador too, and wade for them and do some fly fishing. Now's the time of year.
Oh, wading.
And I did see at Portage Lakes when I was out there, there were a lot of fish were hitting the surface. I saw a lot of crappies. I saw a lot of bluegills, and a few bass on top. So they're catching them on top water out there.
Yeah.
And when I was there, I was actually out there yesterday. I went super early in the morning. I got up after work and about 6 a.m. and went out there and was fishing by 6:30.
It's so nice in the morning, quiet.
It's beautiful.
Little mist on the water.
Beautiful.
Quiet.
The
Very
sun
nice.
was just coming up.
Oh.
And, I was out. I caught about a dozen fish. It wasn't a hot bite. I was picking at them pretty good, though.
Yeah.
I caught like 8 crappies and 3 bluegills. I caught more than a dozen. So I rarely keep score unless it's,
Because you're releasing
but
most of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
I caught 2 huge red ears.
Really?
One was 10 inches, and the other one was at least 11. It was huge. I couldn't believe how big the thing was. But
are they good eating?
Oh yeah,
are they?
They're delicious. They get it in the summertime. Again, with panfish,
right?
With any fish, when it's hot out, get them on ice as soon as you can.
So that'll save it.
So it'll firm up the meat. And they'll
because this time of year, usually the panfish don't taste as good as springtime.
Yeah,
but you could do it by icing.
Get them on ice. Yep, get them on ice.
And isn't that even true at perch?
Sure. Absolute perch.
Well, any
if
fish.
If you're fishing the rock walls around the harbors and stuff, and you're catching rock bass, get them on ice. Ice firms up.
Well, when you're
the
on
meat,
the charter boat, where do they go?
In the ice.
Ice in the cooler. So because we've had it hot temperatures.
Oh yeah, but it's been so much fun, trying to figure out these spots. And I was fishing on the edges of the weed beds around the swim beach area from shore. And I was using a little soft plastic under a rocket bobber, and I was fishing over probably 7-8 feet of water.
Okay.
But I was only fishing 2 feet down.
Oh.
And when I went earlier in the week, the fish wanted it moving. I had to keep it constantly moving, just a tiny little twitch. And then yesterday, when I was fishing, it was different. I'd move it a little bit and stop. And I'd have to wait like 10 to 15 seconds, and the fish would come up and hit it.
While it was sitting?
While it was sitting still.
Isn't that interesting how it changes?
Absolutely. And then you twitch it a little more, and leave it sit still for a while, and they come up and just grab it. Really light bites, but those rocket bobbers, unbelievable way to sense those
to see the bite.
Super, super light bites because they're so sensitive. And they lay flat on the water, and when the fish picks it up, it stands up. So
if it is standing by itself, does that mean you have too much weight on it?
You have too much weight, yes.
So you shouldn't fish it that way.
Right. Don't put weight. You can use a jig, you can use a hook, but you can use a tiny, tiny split shot. You don't need.
So the object of fishing a rocket bobber is not like a regular
don't
bobber.
Don't have it standing up.
Because I've been doing that a lot.
You want it to lay flat.
Okay, so will telegraph that light bite. It'll
It'll just lift up.
That's very important.
And it was so much fun catching those fish yesterday that there were a couple folks out fishing that I knew that I had met a couple times. I think they came to one of my seminars before, and I've seen them out fishing, and we're friends on Facebook and all of that. I gave them a red ear and a nice crappie.
Oh,
and
they had to be
nice
happy.
Crappies. Oh yeah, they were tickled pink.
Sure.
And but the last fish of the day, I caught it was 11 3/4. It wasn't quite 12 inches, but for that area, a crappie.
Ooh,
and it was a really nice crappie.
That's a nice fish.
And I did a little video on my Facebook page and then let him go. But But coming up, I'm going to start doing a Facebook video on. It'll be either Wednesday or Thursday, and I'm going to call it Big Daddy's No Secrets Fishing Report.
Oh.
So I'm going to do a little live hit about where I'm at and what I'm doing
on
and
Facebook,
how I'm catching them, and
it'll be a Facebook Live.
Yep, a Facebook Live,
and it'll be posted where?
On my Facebook page.
Okay,
as Carl Bachtel.
Okay.
So if you want to search that, BACHTEL, and there's a couple on there now, a couple videos I did. You get to look at my big, ugly mug, my bald head, my summer hair.
Yeah, well,
it's nice. I love this haircut.
With these temperatures.
Oh, it's just been
and
low
90
maintenance.
Yesterday, 90 today.
Low maintenance.
Boy,
the wind blows through my stubble and it cools me off.
Yeah, you got to be. We talk a lot. Mm-hmm. What I've done because of this dehydration thing, I have an app on my phone. Mm-hmm. I got a smart watch.
Is the app above the moth or under the moth?
It was above the moth on my watch where the moth was hanging. I can't believe that. But anyways, I'm keeping track of because you don't realize how much water you're drinking. You think you're drinking a lot.
Oh, it'll tell you.
Yeah. So every time I pour a big glass of water, I mark it on there, and then at the end of the day, okay, I did good.
I have this many ounces.
Yes, and so it is very important, especially me with the kidney stones and everything else. So I am.
And your age, you have to stay hydrated.
And
All of us
now when I go on the tractor, I take water with me, which I never did.
Yep.
I'm not thirsty, so I'm drinking it. Not because I'm thirsty, it's because I need to. And so I'm conscious about that. And so I'm, okay, good. Oh, okay, I drank what I was supposed to.
Yeah,
I'm about 60 ounces a day. So I think that's
drink
okay.
Probably 64, 75, 80.
When I that's you?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I go to the doctor, because I know he told me at one time you can drink too much.
Oh, yeah.
And so I thought he said 60 was good for me. And so, but I am doing it. But yeah, people, so important.
Sometimes the medications you take will dehydrate you too, so they want you to keep drinking.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You got to watch that stuff. And I know I tried a couple of the the wild berry, Redmond, the electrolyte.
Yes.
Stuff that you mix with water. I tried the wild berry. It was pretty good too.
Yeah, I had the berry.
So I like that one.
Good. Well, we're going to have.
I even like the watermelon lime. I think I just because I put 2 of the packets in my water jug, which is a 32 ounce.
Oh.
And it's that much. But those things are strong, man.
Oh yes,
they're pretty concentrated. That's what I found.
So 16 to 20, I'd say 20 ounces of water, 20 ounce water bottle.
Yeah,
is good for one pack.
One of those packs, and it's nice because it's a single pack.
If it's a 16 with the single pack, it's going to be pretty strong.
Yeah,
but I really like them. It does it helps you recover. Mm-hmm. If you're outside working, like mowing the grass, or that's after I mowed the lawn, that's when I had it.
Oh.
It helps you recover, and you don't feel as tired, and my muscles didn't get sore. It was really bizarre.
Really?
Because usually I get, my back tightens up or something like that. But I actually felt really good.
Wow,
after
that's
doing
good to hear.
all that work in the sun.
We're going to have the gentleman from the company call in and explain.
Well, there are oral electrolytes that they do give you, like even people that get cholera now, like in India and stuff, and they don't give them IVs. If they can keep stuff down, they give them oral electrolytes that are similar to that, because what they do is they have diarrhea, really severe diarrhea when they get cholera, and if they can keep those oral electrolytes down, it's very, very a good
beneficial.
treatment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Well, we're going to take a break. We're going to go to Africa and hunt rhino with a bow and arrow. And we'll talk about that on the other side.
Okay.
Do you enjoy a good story about hunting or fishing? Then you need to get your hands on Tales from the Trails, the real-life adventures of Castaway Coulis. Take a journey around the world with Joe as he recounts some of his best hunting and fishing trips, from Africa to Alaska, from behind the Iron Curtain to Australia. You can share in his memories through the book, complete with pictures to take you on the journey. It's a trip back in time looking through the eyes of an outdoors legend. Order your copy today on Amazon or at castaway.com. That's castaway with a K.com. Thanks for listening to the Inside the Great Outdoors podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share, shoot us an email at jcoulis@castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K. We'll share your comments with our audience on the following week's show. Thanks again for listening to Inside the Great Outdoors.
There I was, back in the wild again. And I felt right at home, where I belong. I had that feeling coming over me again. Just like it happened so many times before. Yeah.
Oh, welcome back. Time for storytelling time. Tales from the trails, but I figured I'm always thinking, what am I going to talk about? You know, when you're laying in bed, either, I don't know if it's probably in the morning, I come up with the best ideas and the best thoughts and everything. Okay, I got to sit here a minute and think, what am I going to talk about today? And I thought, I thought about one thing and it led to another. Rhino hunting. Oh, that was, I don't know how I met
That's
this.
Something they don't do anymore, really.
No. And the ones they do,
Aren't
they
many
shoot.
left.
They shoot with a dart and tranquilize it.
And cut off their horns.
And, well, that too, a lot to protect
Most
them.
of them, yeah.
To protect them. But the ones that are going to hunt them where they pay all this money, they shoot it with a dart, take the picture, and the animal runs off. But anyways, I had met this outfitter I knew. I don't remember how, when, or where. But he said they're issuing a permit for a white rhino. And that was in South Africa. I thought, wow, cool. And it was $3,000, which was a deal. Well, now it would be a real deal. So I plan a trip and get the airlines and all that. In fact, I think it was the first time I got to fly on a 747 when they just introduced them. And I met a girl, her father was a pilot, and we were standing.
See, that's what their fathers are always
Hot shots.
some way to get somewhere.
Yeah,
that's how I get it now.
I know.
Yeah.
Lobsters,
Meeting the stewardess,
pilots,
the lobsters.
something.
The dad's a pilot. He can fly us, and he can
Oh,
get you
you
on
guys.
the 7. Man, you were the biggest hustler back in the day.
Okay.
We know.
Finagler extreme.
Jealous. So, she says, they told, the father says, if there's ever a plane crash, they always recover the tail section. So she says, we need to sit in the back. So anyways, so we go off to Africa and we get there and you fly to New York, from New York to London, and you spend a day there because the flight's not till late in the day. And back then they put you up in a hotel, and I remember you're spending the day there, nothing to do, and you go down. They had to remember strawberry shortcake. Oh, it was so good. And so then you get to the airport and off you fly and stuff. So you get there. So the first day you do there, or first thing back then, now this is way different, you would go to a tailor, and they had them everywhere. And you went into the tailor, and he measured you, and he made you either 2 or 3 sets of clothes. Shorts, long pants, and a shirt. And so it fit. So you had to go there with just what clothes you're wearing, almost. And they made the khaki stuff and all that just for the trip. That's pretty cool. Then you went to the store and you got the old pit helmet, as your hat. And so you go off in the woods. So now this bow came before, because I wanted to do it with the 100-pound bow. Indian Archery made this bow for me special. So it came, and I couldn't even pull it. I mean, it's, excuse me. So I was at the shop. I would take it, had it on the counter. I'd go by and try to pull it a little bit. And I would do that every half hour. Boy, excuse me. And so I did this, and eventually I could pull it. So I thought, well, now I got to shoot it. So at the shop, I had a driveway that went to the rear of the shop. And it was, I think, 30 yards. So I put a target. So once I could pull it, I would go and I would shoot 3 arrows. That's all I could do. Because that bow, you don't hold it. If you start holding it, you're starting to shake. So you pulled back, aimed, and let it go. And
Instinctive like.
Exactly. And I would shoot 3 arrows, and I'd go back in. An hour or so later, go back out, shoot 3 arrows. To when after I had 2 weeks to get ready. So pretty much by the time it took almost a week to learn to pull it, and about a week to shoot it accurately. And so, okay, I had that ready. I'm confident. So I go there, and we go into town, and we're up back in the bush, and the guide is telling the natives, we're going to shoot this with a bow and arrow. And they all looked at you like, here's some goofy guy. So they would try to pull it, and none of them could pull it, and I would just take it away from them, and I'd pull it right back. So they at least knew that, okay, maybe this thing can work. So you get up in the morning, when you get into camp, it's dark. Say it got light like here at 6. So I would say at about 4:30, the native comes into your tent, brings you a bowl of hot water, a towel, soap to wash up, and either hot tea or coffee, whichever you wanted. And they gave you like, I don't know, I'd say 20 minutes to even maybe more. Because you could lay there. What you did is you lay there a while and you drank your coffee until you really woke up. And then you went to the tent where you would eat. And if it was still too early, you'd sit by because they'd have the fire going. You'd sit there. Then you got in, so you were on the vehicle and leaving when it's just getting light, because you want to be out to where you're going. It's like, so anyways, we find we go through the whole day and look, and finally it was late in the day that we find the rhino. And so finally found him, but it was in real thick stuff. And I got close enough to get a shot, but it was really getting late. So I shot. It seemed to hit good, but they said, let's just back off. Let's wait. So you go home. Well, you go back to camp. Now that's all you're thinking about. That was tough. But same thing, you eat and you sit by the fire, and visit, listen to the lions roar. They roar 7 times. A long one, a little shorter, but you sit there and count, and then you'd hear the lions, or you'd hear the hyenas, which is a real experience, because it's quiet and black, and the sounds or so. So we go back, couldn't wait for morning, get ready, go. Sure enough, we find it, but it wasn't completely dead yet. But it was like he was looking for me, because he had an area, I would say maybe a square of about 50 yards. And he kept circling. And so I figure, okay, if he keeps that same path, I can get in this spot, I wanted to be close as I could get, because it's going to take one more shot. But when he's walking, and he's walking right at you, you think he could see, if he makes a run at you, I had no gun. All I had is the bow. So every time he would kind of get close, I'd chicken out and I'd back off. But their eyes are the same size as a human, and they're a 6,000-pound animal. So but his ears are huge, and his nose, of course, is huge. The white rhino has a square, actually white. The name white rhino is WITE in Swahili or whatever, which means wide mouth. So they called it a white rhino, meaning a wide mouth rhino. And so this happened a few times, and finally I says, okay, the next time I'm gonna stay there and wait, which was nerve-wracking. Sure enough, he got to the same point, and he turned, and boom, I hit him with that one, and then that was it. But it was, when you go up to, when I went up to it, I mean, it's not, on his side, he's almost as tall as you are. That's how big they are. And when you see it, or when you see it in the brush close by moving, when you're far, it's one thing. When you're close, it's like a Volkswagen. It's about the same size. They're that big. And when you see something like that, it's like, how in the world did I get that accomplished? But back then when you're young, you're not afraid of nothing. I didn't have a gun with me, but I had to go alone because when I had all these people, I couldn't get close enough. So one person, I could control the situation, and it worked out that way.
Now I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
How did your the indigenous people react when they knew you had dispatched this rhino with a bow?
They were about as happy as me. Because, well, number one, they got food.
Right.
Nothing. If an elephant, I don't care what you shoot, every single thing, I take the skin, and they ate everything else. So they were happy, but I think it was the reverse. When I wasn't talking to them, but in the beginning, when the guide would tell them what's going on, they kind of look at you and yeah, right. And so,
like you look at me all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy white man.
Right. But when they saw me pull that bow back, and they couldn't, maybe that thing is pretty good. But yeah, they were about as happy as me. Yeah, that was when you work so hard for something, the planning, the staging, the learning of the whole thing. So it was the whole experience that made it. So it's a culmination of all that hard work and everything else, getting to the point where you accomplish what you tried to do. And when you do it, it's like, oh, man.
After you stuck him, how long did it take him to...
The second time?
Yeah.
Not much, because he was pretty weak from the first one.
Oh, okay.
So, but same thing, we backed off, like you should do with a deer.
Yeah.
You back off. Don't push him, because if you push him,
he's gonna go.
Adrenaline will get... And if they have adrenaline, I don't care what animal, forget it. They live on adrenaline. So you back off and you wait. And we went back to the car and waited quite a while. And then when it was, it was good. But yeah, so there was a beneficial to not only them, but the village. They got food, but they, I think they could see what was going on because they had to stay way back. Because when we first tried to get close with everybody, it didn't work. So, but anyways, go ahead. Okay. That's a story.
I'm good.
Okay, you're good.
I'm good.
Storytelling time over. We're going to take a break because we've got Good News Keel on the other side, and we'll get to him when we return.
You ready to catch the big one? Introducing Kodiak Fish Attractant Catfish Bombs, your ultimate secret weapon for a successful fishing trip. Designed with fishermen in mind, Kodiak Catfish Bombs release an irresistible scent that draws catfish in from miles away. Just toss it in, wait a bit, and watch the action unfold. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, these bombs are hot stuff. Perfect for the weekend angler or those late-night catfish excursions. Watch your catch rate explode with Kodiak Fish Attractant Catfish Bombs. Available online at castaway.com. That's castaway with a K.com. Thanks for listening to the Inside the Great Outdoors podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share, shoot us an email at jcoulis@castaway.com. That's Castaway with a K. We'll share your comments with our audience on the following week's show. Thanks again for listening to Inside the Great Outdoors.
Welcome back. Time for Good News with Good News Keo. Right there, buddy.
It is. Yes. We're getting close to picking a fork in the show here. We're almost done.
Yep, you got it.
Yes, yes. Hey, earlier in the week, both Carl and I posted a link to
Yeah.
the latest ODNR Ohio Bald Eagle survey. And
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to focus on that this week.
Sure.
It is amazing story.
Oh, absolutely.
964 pairs of nesting eagles statewide.
Wow. That's amazing.
Eagle nest
From
in every
none.
county but one.
From none. We had none.
How many counties do we have? 88?
88.
88?
Yeah.
88 counties, and Meigs County is the only one that can't find one. And that doesn't
Doesn't mean
necessarily
they're not
mean that
there.
there isn't.
That's
There
exactly
isn't
right.
one there.
It's a big county.
That's exactly right.
A
Yep,
wild
Meigs-
county.
It's a very rural county.
Yeah.
So it's entirely possible there's a nest or two that they just haven't found. But, the real story is it's up 36% in the last 5 years,
Wow.
even. Ottawa County, there's 112 nesting pairs in Ottawa.
Gee.
Ottawa County is not a big county,
No.
but it is on the lake.
A lot of
So-
fish.
Well, yeah, a lot of
A lot
food.
of fish up there.
Sure.
A lot of,
Yeah.
the state parks and park areas and things like
And
that.
Yeah,
places where they feel comfortable. I have one down the street.
It used to be that if there was a nesting pair, they would cordon it off.
Yes.
And you couldn't get closer
Yes.
than a couple hundred yards. Like in Eastlake, they did that at Bruce E. Park.
Yeah.
There was an eagle nest
Yeah.
there, and they said, well, you can't play ball because you've got an eagle here. Well, it turns out they don't really care
No.
as long
Yeah.
as you're not, directly harassing them. They adapt pretty well to being close to humans. And
They
Joe,
like-
I think you know that from
Oh, yeah.
from your time in Alaska, right? I mean,
Oh, actually, there's places where they had too many, and the natives
Yeah.
hated them.
Well, they like young children, too.
Yeah.
I've seen video of guys cleaning fish, at a commercial,
Oh, yeah.
They'll
dock
come
yeah.
right
side,
down and
Yeah.
steal them.
and
Oh, yeah.
they're like pigeons
Sure.
or starlings.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
And here's
try
what I'm seeing a lot of videos of them. What amazes me when you look at it, how does a bird fly? I mean, they're heavy, but not only to fly,
well, they're
but
not
to
as heavy as
maneuver.
they look.
Yeah,
They're not
Yeah.
as heavy as they.
yeah, right.
If you look at the size of an eagle, you think, "Oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
that's 15
But
pounds." Well,
there's
no.
weight to it. But to actually be able to fly by just moving something to keep it airborne, if you really think about it, that's pretty amazing. How any bird, but especially eagles, and then how they can maneuver and fight each other for a fish in the air, and even the mating
They're
things
not
they go
very
through.
dense.
Mm-hmm.
Their bones aren't dense. They have
Right.
air in their
Yeah.
bones, and their
But still, the
feathers are light,
motion
yeah.
to keep them in the air is pretty amazing. As you watch a wing beat, I'm amazed by it. But
Well,
Yeah.
they're going to have a season on them pretty soon.
If you take a look at 1979, there were 4 nesting pairs
Yeah.
in Ohio,
wow,
and those are all up in Ottawa County. But yeah, I remember back in the in the early '80s, probably like 1983, I think it was. I was on a call down at Ladue Reservoir, and I don't even recall what the call was about. But Jay was there too, as the representative of the Division of Wildlife. We were working the call together, and there was, as I recall, another wildlife officer with him. I wish I remember why we were there. But the bottom line is, we were in the parking lot by the boat ramp, and we're talking to the complainant, and an eagle flew over. And for that moment, when the eagle flew over, the 3 of us, the law enforcement officers that were there, stopped what we were doing, our line of questioning, our listening to the complainant, just watch this eagle.
oh yeah,
And then about a minute later, we realized that we were just like dumbfounded. And they looked at, oh, sorry, what were you saying?
oh yeah, wow.
But back then, there was you had it was something you just didn't see every day.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, but
Well,
yeah, now you go down to
in another way, it's how that came back. Look at the white-tailed deer back then. You know,
oh yeah, same thing.
we had a 3-day season, and you were allowed a doe anything the first day, and then it had to be a buck or whatever. But yeah, so bringing wildlife back, it is been really good in Ohio.
Not only that. Yeah, not only that, I'm old enough to remember when Canada geese were.
Oh, yeah. Man,
Oh,
I shot a Canadian goose. Oh, boy, that was
they'd make ballads about
that was a big thrill. And now, yeah, think about those three things. Oh, from what it was in our lifetime.
There's actually a
yeah.
fourth.
What's the fourth?
The ospreys.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember doing a story.
And
out
they
at
used
Division
to have
3,
mini skirts back then, too. You remember?
at the District 3 office for the Division of Wildlife on Portage Lakes. They actually brought 3 or 4, it might have been 4, ospreys from Maryland and put them in nesting cages here.
Yeah.
For a season.
Yeah.
And then they'd go out and electric shock fish to feed these things.
Okay.
And then they let them out of the cages so they could migrate back to Brazil or wherever, and then they started coming back to Ohio.
So they came back to Ohio.
Yep.
That's how it started.
Yeah,
And
they
now
did the same thing at East
mean,
Branch Reservoir with
yeah.
one pair.
And you've got an osprey in your yard, don't you, Joe? Or right on the corner there?
I was out this morning watching an osprey bringing the fish to the nest right up in the cell tower.
That's yesterday.
Is that
I was
cool
watching
or
them.
what?
I saw like
That's
6 of them
really
flying around Portage Lakes, and a couple of them dove and
Wow.
missed fish a couple times, and then 2 of them grabbed a fish. So
wow.
there you go.
It's cool. It's
I
really
remember
cool.
I
And
saw
not only
my
that,
first
there's a
one.
number of. Oh, go ahead.
I saw my first one down at Leesville.
Uh-huh.
And it had to be in the late 60s or early 70s, you know?
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I thought I had some
Yeah.
bad Labatt's or something,
Yeah.
you know? I couldn't believe it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
I couldn't believe it.
Oh, yeah. Amazing. So we are doing a lot in Ohio to bring back things. So, talk about hunters and everything else. Well, just look at what we've done with some wildlife. And
well,
so
We've got otters. We've got
Yes.
and beavers.
Bobcat,
fishers.
black
We got
bear.
fishers. We have bobcats and we have bears even.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's so something's working
We also
right.
have an influx of mink, from what I understand.
Yeah.
From the somebody released like
Yeah.
2,000 minks from a mink farm in Massillon or something. Just crazy. It's just like
Oh, I recall that. Yeah,
Occasional cougar.
So you got any culture for this bunch?
I do. In fact, it comes from John Denver, and it's about eagles. He said, "I know I'd be a poor man if I never saw an eagle fly."
Oh, yeah.
It's true.
It is just something about, like when I first would go to Alaska and you get to see an eagle, and it's like, oh, man, that is such a, But I'm just amazed watching at these videos and to see the way they, they catch something without looking. They dive down. I'm watching these videos. They dive down to the fish. They're still looking straight ahead. Grab it, they have it. And off they go. Once in a while, they'll look down at it, but they don't even look. It's all sensory, I guess. So, good. Well, we will talk to you next week with some good food.
Sounds good. So let's look forward to maybe a little cooler week this
You
weekend.
got it. Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Oh,
See you,
all
Joe.
right, I got good news.
Okay.
My grandson's coming over today.
Oh, boy.
So we get to go fishing this week.
Oh, there you go. Oh, good. Well, get out there and make some memories. Because the memories you make today could be the most lasting. Say a little prayer for all the people that are having some bad times down in Florida. I'm sorry, in Texas with the flooding. And make a phone call to somebody. Random act of kindness is so important. I was visiting with my buddy Andy in church yesterday, and he was remarking how he heard me talk about making him laugh last week. So getting people to laugh, making people smile is really cool. So it's important to do it. They could call to somebody you haven't talked to a while. They'll brighten their day, brighten your day. So it's a win-win. And remember, a day without a smile is a day wasted. Ain't got time for any wasting those days. My mother always told me, Joey, don't you ever take any wooden nickels.
You've been listening to Inside the Great Outdoors with Joe Kulis, Joe Keogh, and Dr. Norm. Join us every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on AM 1420 The Answer. Download the podcast of today's show and previous broadcasts at IGOradio.com. Follow the show on Facebook and get interactive with the cast and crew. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week, 7 a.m., right here on AM 1420 The Answer.